Hey, it's Joe. Next question here is from Bill Shappy, and he's in the Villages in Florida. He says, this is a multi-part question. I'm sure there are lots of people like me out there who want to do this business remotely. In other words, in cities and states where we would never be able to meet the sellers and buyers, see the house, let people see it, etc. You've addressed some of the factors involved in your teaching, but I'd like to see one whole module devoted to that subject and methodology, one place where we could go to get answers to all the questions that apply to that situation. The only place I have this right now is in my mentor program. Now, I talk about it throughout all my programs about, not just automation, but also outsourcing, because I think that's what you're talking about, not just automation, which is what the automarketer does. It automates everything that can be automated, or nearly everything that can be automated. Outsourcing is something if you want somebody who's going to make the calls to your sellers, someone who's going to be talking to your buyers and selling the deals for you, so you can just sit back and you can watch this stuff happen and direct them and make sure that they're doing the work properly and looking at the numbers and making sure everything's happening properly. That's the way I do my business, and you can do the same thing for yours by bringing other people into this process to help them do that. But right now I'm developing some new techniques in how to outsource, and we're adding new things to the automarketer to make outsourcing a little bit easier, a phone module that'll make it possible for people to call through your system, even if they're in the Philippines or if they're in, say, Jamaica. They can call into a local area. Let's say I want to work in Idaho, and I get an Idaho area code, and we set it up on our sites, and then I let the people that I hire call in from that website. I click a button and they can call out from that number, and it'll record their call. It'll keep track of how long they're on the call, and it'll let you know that if they're charging you for 10 hours and they're only on the phone for half an hour, there might be a problem there. So you can monitor what they're doing. You can also listen to their recordings to make sure that they're doing it properly and see where they're getting hung up and train them through this process. And these are things that I'm developing in my mentor program, and I'm teaching to my mentor students as we go, because frankly I'm learning some of this stuff myself. We're trying to figure out what is the optimal way to do that, and eventually we're going to set up a module inside the automarketer that teaches all these things as well, so you'll eventually get all that information as well, just not at the beginning. I try not to create new training programs unless it's tested and proven and I'm absolutely happy with it. And it usually is 6 months or a year or 2 years behind my process in the system. The next question here you had is, how do we show the house remotely? How do we gain respect and trust over the phone? How do we find mortgage brokers to send buyers for pre-qualifications? How do we get them to give us results? Who do we use for closing the deals and collecting money? And where do we find them without traveling to the area? Do we really have to put signs in the lawns or just ads in Craigslist? Where do we get lock boxes, and who to get that you can trust to put them in place? Should we just have a homeowner show us property if they're willing? And so forth and so on. And I think this all relates to his earlier question about creating a module, because this is a much bigger question than I can answer on a 3-minute video. I know these are basic answers to some of these, but put an ad in the paper or go through the phone book for bankers, but maybe some tried and true methods that can streamline the whole process. I do. Maybe a sort of step-by-step blueprint just for the remote method of doing the lease to buy or the rent to own, rent for rent method, deals long distance. He's asking for this module. So yeah, so that is in the works. And if you're in my mentor program, you're going to get it as I do it. And you'll even be testing things out with me, because my mentor students will say, I'd like to do this. Okay, this is great. Let's try it. Here, do this, this, this. Here's an ad that you can run here, to find a person to do it. Here's how much money you should be spending on it. Here are the numbers. Let's break down let's look at the exit strategies. Let's see how this is all going to work. What's it going to take? How many people are you going to have to hire before you get one that sticks? How you keep those people on board. All those things we're doing right now in the mentor program, and we're teaching those things as we go. There's a lot of information in the automarketer program too, so also go to the automarketer training tab, scroll down, and there's some Q&A sessions that we did that I think would be very valuable to you, because we talk about some of the outsourcing and automation in that. Now, with all this said, before you start outsourcing, outsourcing is really an advanced method. You want to automate, and you want to do the work yourself the calls, the high value jobs, which is making the calls to the sellers and then sometimes talking to the buyers, which talking to the buyers is the first thing you're going to outsource. You're going to outsource talking to sellers last. And it takes some skill to be able to train somebody to do that. And we've broken it down in a way that makes it easier. And if you go into the auto marketer, you also find the lead sheet. The lead sheet is a questionnaire. And the reason we put it in there, and you'll see things popping up on the auto marketer that aren't very well explained in the auto marketer yet, because they're so brand new. And one of those is the lead sheet. And the lead sheet is where we give it to a telemarketer and they ask questions and find out if that lead is serious. And if the lead is serious, then we call and follow up and close the deal. And by doing that enough times, the telemarketer gets good at learning how to close that deal themselves. And our goal is within 3 to 6 months to have that telemarketer, first of all, within a few weeks to find out if that telemarketer is actually going to do the work. And then within a few months, have that telemarketer learn how to close a deal so that they can start closing on those leads, and then we can expand into another area. And then get another telemarketer and span into another area and another and another. So those are all things that we're learning the process of what is the most optimal way to bring those people in. Some of it is luck by getting the right person, but much of it is how you train them, how you teach them, what you pay them, how you structure it, and these techniques that we're exploring right now, and you're going to see eventually. So my answer, I guess, is 1, get into the mentor program, and I'll teach you these things personally. 2, wait for me, and I'll eventually get them up on the auto marketer within the next year or so, and you'll be able to see this stuff as it goes. All right, hope that helps. Thanks.